Hi, I'm Yvonne Pren from EffectiveChurchCom.com, and I'd like to welcome you to Church Communications Video Tips. Our tip today is all about where to find great papers for church communication projects. So let's get started. One of the things that will really increase the looks and value and just quality of what you produce in the church office is your choice of the paper or cardstock that you choose to print it on. Now, I have a little booklet that goes along with this, but I thought that it might really help for me to give you sort of a little tour of where you can get some nice papers. In the little booklet, I say very casually, contact your local paper merchant, and as I thought about it, I realized, some people might live or be in places where that's not easy to do. Fortunately, we now have wonderful resources online, and I'm just going to share a few of them with you that I think you'll find really exciting. I know I find selecting paper and the things that you can do with it to be really just a lot of fun. So the first one that I want to show you is one called the Paper Mill Store. Now, this is just a delightful resource. The website is extremely well organized. I would encourage you to go on it. It's just thepapermillstore.com and just spend a little bit of time looking around, really educating yourself on paper. I'll be going through it in a minute. But one thing too, and I have called them to check them out to make sure that they're nice people. But they have an 800 number here, and you can call them at any time for advice or questions on paper. So that's something that's really nice also. Okay, so let's just take a little brief tour of the site. As you can see, it's organized by paper, cardstock, envelopes, and then they say and more. And one of the things that I'll be pointing out in a few minutes is also what they have available on services. But let's just look here for a minute on the paper. You can select papers by different colors. Now, one of the things too that I want to point out is a lot of you may not even be familiar with a number of the things that are available to you. And the thing that's really exciting, and one reason why I feel very confident in sharing this with you, is those of you that have access to particularly Riso digital duplicators and also the Riso ComColor machines. They will allow you to print so many more kinds of paper and cardstock than perhaps your laser printer or your color copier or something like that. Because the Riso machines are heatless, and for example, your digital duplicator has a straight paper path, they can just handle a lot more card stocks and paper stocks. So just look at some of them that are available. For example, here, metallic papers. There are just so many gorgeous things that you can get. Now, I want you to see how when you click on to that label, it takes you through all of these different ones. And one thing that's really nice is see how beneath each one of these, you can order a sample. They're just $1 a piece, and say you want to see what the stuff is like, you can order the sample of it. And some of these are just absolutely gorgeous. A light gold paper, say for a Christmas program or postcards or bookmarks or something like that. You just some really gorgeous things. I've used actually the green metallic on some things in the past for Christmas, and it just came out looking absolutely gorgeous. So you see, this is just one of the things that you might think about. Another one that's really fun that a lot of people aren't aware of is you can get translucent papers. These are just wonderful, and these you can literally see through, and they're really neat for, say you want to do a cover sheet for a special report or something like that, where you might print something on the top and you can still actually see through it. Just lots of fun design things. And once again, here you can see you can order samples, try them through your machine, see how they will work for you. All kinds of parchment papers available. Most people are familiar with the AstroParch, but there's a lot of other companies, and also too, AstroParch comes in a lot of different colors. One that I've used for some specialty things in the past is the AstroParch Blue. A lot of times your regular stores don't always have that. And they also have kind of sort of, they call it shell. It's kind of a pinkish paper. I've used that also for some special projects. So you see just a number of really, really nice things. Now we could spend all kinds of time looking at all these fun different things, but I know you've got things to do. So let me just point out a couple other things on this site that are useful, and then I'll show you two other sites that are kind of fun. Here is something that is really neat. They will do all kinds of things for you ahead of time on the paper. Let me show you what I mean. Here is their different things. They will perf the paper ahead of time for you. Now, the things that I can imagine for churches to do, one of them, of course, are postcards. You can have them done up really whatever size you want and have the paper just come perfed and ready to go. I called them up to make sure it is micro perfed, so you could print up your invitation cards, things like that, whatever, if you wanted to do that. Business cards, they will all come micro perfed for you. You can make on the Effective Church Communications website, there's a lot of business card, invitation card things, and I'm going to be doing so many more for the holidays. Here you can get whatever, say you want to do a specialized thing, say that beautiful metallic green paper, you want to coordinate your postcards, your business cards, and another thing that I just love, you could do bookmarks. You could do a whole color coordinated thing with all these specialty papers, have a ream of each of them perfed for you, and you'd be set to go. Just lots and lots of ideas. Just wanting to show these to you and let you pick them out. In addition to perfing, they will also do scoring. Now, what this is really neat about is with the scoring, that is where, for example, you might want to have do a brochure. You can have it pre-scored so it's a whole lot easier to fold. Hole punching, if you're putting together notebooks for people or sort of training materials or whatever, and you want to have color-coded sections, they will do that for you ahead of time. So just a lot of really neat services that you might think about for specialty projects. One more thing before we leave this site. I talked about swatch books and how wonderful they are in the little booklet that I did on papers. And this website is great in that it has quite a few, well, in fact, really all the paper companies. It has their swatch books that you can just order online through the company. You can go through and you can look at it. You can see how they would describe it. Let's just pick this one, Nia paper. That's a very standard, ordinary thing. But, you know, they talk about how the paper has, these are all of the different stocks that they have, the colors, the weights, the finishes, all of them right within the booklet. And you can see, let's get this to focus here. This is really nice because you can see in detail, you can touch and you can feel all of the different samples, and this will come to you in the swatch book. This one's kind of neat. It has it's a whole swatch book on translucent papers, and you can see what they look like, different ideas of things that you can print with them. If you only go to one site, thepapermillstore.com, it will give you lots of ideas, really give you an education on paper and some of the different things that are possible, enable you to order the swatch books. Now, I'm just going to point out a couple of others just really quickly. Here is one. This is called limitedpapers.com. I wanted to point this out just because they had such a nice sample of a lot of the custom scoring that they do. The other site will do this also, but I thought this was a great example of how you can get things, again, scored ahead of time, so it's very, very easy for you to fold them up after they're printed. This seems like a pretty good company also. They are a little bit they're a little bit harder to use they don't illustrate things as well, but it's pretty good. Now, one other thing though they do have, and this is really neat, is they have a paper selector box. You used to be able to get these from your printers all the time, but they've kind of gotten where they don't give these away freely anymore. Now, these are different than the sample books in that they put them together. They put together the swatch books from a number of the different paper companies. I hate to say it, but you can get something like this and then you wouldn't necessarily have to buy the paper from them because it will tell you the company and who it is and all of that. This is a $69 purchase, but if you're doing a lot of different kinds of printing, it can really, really be worth it. So this is something that you might think about ordering. And then just one last one, City Papers. The reason I'm supporting this one, it's a much smaller company, but they give you more detail about some really interesting papers. For example, here are some, they call them Patalics. They're basically metallic papers, and they have great pictures of you can see what they really look like. Another one that I thought was kind of fun is your craft paper. Here's what this looks like. It has that really recycled look and is just a lot of fun for solid color printing. A lot of the art stuff that different art departments are using the digital duplicator for. They'll use these kinds of papers for a more craftsy kind of look, and people like that. So this is just kind of a fun one. Let's look at one more, what they call Splendor Lux papers, and these have really interesting patterns already in them. You know, not useful for everything, but sometimes something like this might be just the perfect thing for maybe the middle school overnight or some kind of extravaganza. I don't know, but you can do some very fun things with the different papers. Here I am back at the Paper Mill store. Once again, just take some time, learn about paper, try some different things, particularly going into the holiday season. Break out of the mold of just 20-pound bond. Be wild and crazy and get some gorgeous metallic paper or something like that. Your Riso machines will run it practically all of it. Again, check with your dealer, but you can do some very exciting, fun things. So have a little bit of fun and explore these websites. For lots more tips, resources, inspiration, and instruction on church communications, go to the www.effectivechurchcom.com site. And may the Lord greatly bless you and give you joy as you serve Him today in church communications.